All right, guys. So one of the biggest turnoffs for me when it comes to the Democrats is their ability to always make the most out of a tragedy. Never let a tragedy go to waste, right? And that's what they're doing with this tragic event that happened in Atlanta with the Asian massage parlors, okay? Um, Obviously they're running with the white supremacist narrative, and I have a video that eventually will come out once YouTube finish checking the video about this very subject matter in more depth, right? But I'm also seeing signs for gun control. Oh, how did the shooter get a gun, right? Like I'm seeing the same things that we always see after a tragedy. What I never see is people just putting politics aside for a little bit and just mourning the tragedy and coming together as American people, black, white, Latino, Asian, right? And actually having an understanding of each other, right? You never see that, right? And that's what you should see. But you never see that. Partly because you have people that are so quick to try to politicize everything, okay? And when the Democrats try to politicize these tragedies, they see it as an opportunity to take more freedom, okay? And to me, that is very frustrating because sometimes it's best to just get the facts. Let's give it a little bit of time. Let tensions cool down, let things kind of cool down, and then let's come to the table when there's cool heads to debate potential policy. But no. The Democrats never want to do that, right? They always want to try to kick it up into overdrive. And this initiative or policy that Bill de Blasio is advocating for in regards to the New York City police really disturbs me, okay? Because it's one of those things where it's like, this is basically a police state that I feel like can potentially severely limit our freedoms, particularly freedom of speech, okay? And when it comes to freedom of speech, you guys know how I feel about that. So let's listen to Bill de Blasio advocate for something that I think is just very, very, very disturbing, right? In response to this increase in Asian hate crimes across the country. Let's take a listen.
But I guess the concern and the upset coming from within the community is that so few of these are being actually tried as hate crimes, and that's what they don't understand, and that's what they are trying to, perhaps if it's an education issue. I don't know if you've spoken with Commissioner Shea about this, and I know what you said about if it's something that's not a criminal case, how would the NYPD confront someone if it's not criminal? Would they have like a conversation with them to say, hey, that's actually not cool? How would that work?
Well, that's exactly what happens, whether again it's NYPD or it could be other agencies as well, but NYPD is a great example. One of the things officers are trained to do is to give warnings. If someone has done something wrong, but not rising to a criminal level, it's perfectly appropriate for an NYPD officer to talk to them to say, that was not appropriate, and if you did that on a higher level, that would be a crime, and I think that has a educating impact on people. I think it has a sobering impact that we need. That's why we need every report. By the way, if something might be a crime, if it's not 100% clear, the NYPD is going to investigate. I assure you, if an NYPD officer calls you or shows up at your door to ask about something you did, that makes people think twice, and we need that. We're also in the reform report we have put together in these last weeks, based on hearing communities. We put in there a new policy to widen the definition of what would qualify as hate crimes and to widen the tracking, improve the tracking of hate crimes.
All right, guys. So you heard what he said there. Basically, what he's saying is that if you do something that's not a crime, basically they can send police to your door knocking if you do something that's not a crime. To me personally, guys, I don't like the sound of that. I just don't. I don't feel comfortable with the idea that in a world where every little thing is a microaggression and we're becoming more and more sensitive and soft, really, as a society, that if somebody feels offended by something I do, right, or something I say, that the police can just come knocking at my door, right? Like, what if I bump into somebody that's Asian and I'm in a hurry or something like that, and they feel like I try to attack them, right? Can the police come knocking at my door asking, why did I do that? Or, investigating me for that? And I know maybe it's not a big deal. Maybe I'm overthinking this. It's just, to me, when Democrats start talking like this, as a reaction to these events, it's just like, why? Right? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying what happened is not serious. Obviously, I think what happened is serious. What happened was terrible. What happened was a tragedy. But the thing is that we have to be careful when we start talking about what to do moving forward. Okay, guys, and I'm not oblivious to this, okay? Because I have a friend that's Chinese, really Asian, right? That lives in New York City. And he called me even before this event and, talked about how he was concerned about these Asian hate crimes, right? And how he was confronted, okay? I mean, the person who was confronted by wasn't white, by the way, right? To push back against that white supremacy narrative. But I'm just saying, right? This is not something that has not affected me to a certain extent. It's definitely affected people that I'm friends with. So it's not like this is an issue that I'm completely oblivious to. But at the same time, we have to not forget about our basic rights and freedoms. Okay? I don't want to live in a world where if somebody feels offended and there's no crime that's done, or I do something and it's not a crime, I can worry about the police showing up to my door because somebody felt that something I did was maybe a hate crime, or something I said maybe was a hate crime. That to me, I think is a slippery slope that, I just don't think is smart to go down, right? And that to me sounds like the expansion of the police state. That sounds like a really serious expansion of the police state. Okay? And I'm not trying to be a fearmonger. I'm questioning just the idea that police can just pull up to your door for things that are not crimes. Right? That's going to be more interactions with the police that people are going to have between the police. How much money is that going to cost? Right? With all these reports, if police are going to every single report, how much is that going to cost? Right? How many more interactions with the police are people going to have? Right? Is that going to lead to more negative interactions with the police? Like, there's so many different questions that I have in my head about a policy like this that I really do think is an overreaction, right? To, again, something that was a tragedy, but I think it was an overreaction. And it really concerns me because Democrats do this every single time. Every single time. They never let a tragedy go to waste. Nobody ever wants to take a step back and just chill out and just think with a level head. It's almost like everything is a political opportunity for people, right? And I'm not, sure if that's the angle that de Blasio is coming from. I don't know. I don't know what angle he's coming from. Maybe he is highly concerned about it and it's something that he wants to stop. But I just don't necessarily know about, having the thought police, right, pull up to your door, right, because of something you said or something you did or some type of microaggression or something that's passive aggression or somebody got offended by something. Like, that to me just seems like a little bit much. Instead of advocating to expand the police state, why don't he just advocate for Asians to exercise their Second Amendment rights, right, to protect themselves, right? Like, that's something that I think that, is something people can do immediately to try to prevent these things from happening, right? People will think twice about pulling up on people if they understand that these people may be armed, right? If there's a good chance they're armed, there'll be less of a chance of people just pulling up, in my opinion, right? In my opinion, that to me seems to be the more immediate and constitutional and freedom preserving solution, right? And I also find it interesting how the defund the police crowd wants to use police resources for stuff like this, right? Now, all of a sudden, they want more police, right? They want more police because this, to me, sounds like a police state, okay? I just find it ironic. But I want to know you guys' opinion on that. Do you think this is overreach? Let me know. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.